Before we get started, let me just say this right off the bat. Please take notes. If you're here to watch for fun, I would rather you not watch at all. I would rather you go somewhere else and have your fun. But if you're here to watch, you're here to be serious. Make no mistake, my friends. This is work. And if you're not serious about the work of changing your perspectives for the better, changing your mental habits for the better, changing the trajectory of your life onto a better path, if you're not serious about any of those things, please leave. You can just go. No hard feelings, man. It's your life. It's your choice. All right, now that said, let's get into it. Learning correctly, and of course, the opposite occurrence of that, the demise of ignorance. Some people get the chagrin effect, or they become defensive when they've been proven wrong in their views. And instead of up for change, what do? They become, that's right, they become stubborn in their ways. Now, when you refuse to reform, when you refuse to change your erroneous perspectives, whether you realize this or not, what you're effectively doing is stunting your learning progress. Your learning curve becomes doldrum, plateaued. You understand? Okay, let me rephrase that in a slightly different manner to show you the gravity and brevity of what I'm saying. When you refuse to learn, when you refuse to change, you are in a stagnant state of decay where there are no improvements, none. And if you cannot improve, guess what? You cannot grow. And if there is no growth, consequently, you cannot evolve either, my friends. Take, for example, the caterpillar. There's so many life lessons you can learn from this marvelous creature. Now, I'm no lepidopterologist, and that will be made aware. However, the caterpillar has to learn the basic necessities of its life. It has to learn its nature. It must learn to eat. But more importantly, what to eat and how often to eat. Not only for its survival, but also to advance its life. And through the correct and proper process of consumption, it gains strength and vitality. It is then thus able to improve its life through growth and development. As it eats, grows, and develops, it learns more of what needs to be done to reach a higher level, to attain its higher purpose, no pun intended. And to do so, it must change state. It then do what it must. It takes action. Very important action. Remember this digression and remember it well. Action is the initiation of progress. Without any action, your life will not be better. You see, you can hypothesize and conceptualize all you want, but without the other half of the strategic execution equation, I like to call the SEE, without its proportionate aspect, which is action, all your concepts, hypotheses, beliefs, along with your fate, are irrelevant. They cannot truly serve you without action, without the application of effort, discipline, determination, and repetition, they cannot come to fruition. It is of vital importance you understand that. Now, let us go on with this. And so the caterpillar takes action and guide its life by concocting its cocoon, its chrysalis, to facilitate its transformative state, to advance, to evolve into the next stage of its life, into a butterfly, and take flight. No longer was it grounded only by choice. That was quite the literature symphony. I should be a poet or something. Now, I'm not saying when you're ready, you're going to take flight. We're obviously not a butterfly. Neither are we Superman or any magical anime characters for that matter. We're not Shadow, and we're not training like Minoru over here to acquire magic. No, not at all. Although, I guess you could say in a very real way, we're training to magically transform our lives. That's another symphony. I really should be a poet, man. I could win the Pulitzer Prize. Maybe in another life, another time, when the stars are aligned. Wouldn't that be nice? Anyways, you catch my drift though. You see what I'm driving at. The vital component, the prime proponent, throughout its transformative stages, is learning. Make sure you write this down in all caps. Learning is the underlining and defining quality, principle, factor in all facets of life. What would have happened if the caterpillar had refused to learn? Then its potentiality would not have been realized. It would have been stunted instead, and no evolution would have occurred. In other words, there would be no butterflies anywhere on Earth. The same applies to your life. What do I mean? When you refuse to learn, your potential becomes stunted. It does not become realized. It is blunted, and you're not only depriving yourself, but worse, you're depriving the world of your unique gifts and contributions that can only come from you learning. And when you don't, what you are is then stuck in a negative rut, the demise of ignorance, where you don't gain anything, nothing at all, zero net result. And there's no worse place to be. Contrary to popular belief, ignorance is certainly not bliss. By no means is ignorance bliss. Ignorance is poverty. Ignorance is tragedy. As Jim Rohn once said, how true. Very true. Lack of financial knowledge and management precipitates and exacerbates poverty or privation. Lack of risk management and awareness precipitates and exacerbates danger or misfortune. What you don't know will certainly hurt you, my friends. Make no mistake of that. None. Or else it will be to your detriment. And so, as you can see, being a fool is bad. But what's worse than being a fool? Yes, there is something worse. And that's being a stubborn fool. You don't want to reach at an irrevocable point where there is no effort or intelligence you can apply to effect change. Nothing you can do anymore. I believe that is what they call a dead end, if I'm not mistaken. And that is the destination of a stubborn fool. And so to avoid such a dire situation from occurring, make it a conscious habit on a daily basis to know, to learn, And again, not only write this down in all caps, but constantly keep this in mind. You must go through sequences, processes of corrections, repetitions to be accurate in your way of thinking, especially, as well as in all your endeavors. If you refuse to be, if you refuse to accept that, then I'm sorry to say your life will eventually be rendered to a series of woeful, dreadful events. I take no pleasure in painting such a morbid picture for you, but that is just the reality of things, my friends. So let us not kid ourselves anymore in any capacity whatsoever. Let's be extra serious. This is our life we're talking about here after all. We did not fight our way to the egg, beating millions of others in the process to win the prize of life, for it to be woeful and dreadful for us in the end now, did we? No, no. I know I certainly did not. We fought our way to emerge victorious so we could experience the joy and delight of life in all its glory, abundance, triumph, and splendor. All of us are victors. We all have emerged victorious from the race of life, or should I say, to the race of life. But for some people, that's the only major race that they've ever won and will ever win. They can't bother to put in the effort to continue to be a big-time winner because of laziness, or they simply just don't want to because of disinterest. Whatever the case may be, don't be like that. I guess, seeing that you're interested in this video and you choose to click and watch, it's safe to say that you're not. You and I are then the same. We prove our worth, we prove our value, not by chance, but by choices promptly made, and staying true to our goals and beliefs by never giving up even when we fail. We're all born winners, man. But it is then up to each and every one of us to continue that streak or re-continue that streak. And we do so by learning correctly. That cannot be stressed enough. By learning correctly what this world is all about and our place in it, our purpose. And we cannot do so by being a stubborn fool now, can we? No. We cannot. So starting today, this very moment, instigate a learning regime and learn something of value. Read, research, listen to audiobooks, podcasts on wealth, discipline, personal development skills, health, spirituality, philosophy, stoicism, etc. Things that encourages you to be adept, not things that distracts you and make you become inept and does not contribute to your betterment. A topic I'll be focusing on in more of my upcoming videos. Until then,